Good evening and good day, whatever time it is for you. I'm thankful that you're here. Looking forward to spending some time with you. My name is Tara. I am a peer support specialist. Pardon me while I fix that. I'm a peer support specialist, actually certified Medi-Cal peer support specialist. Within the past few months, I did earn my Medi-Cal certification. I've been a certified peer support specialist for quite some time now, approaching a year here in a couple months. But I recently just got my Medi-Cal certification. So I am here to support you in your recovery from substance misuse or mental health conditions. If you're not in that camp and are not in recovery for those things or for anything at all, I'm still really glad you're here. Right now, you're in very good company. We've got a good little crew that gathers here. So while we're waiting for everybody to roll in, Body Illusion. Hey, Body Illusion, nice to see you. I'm so glad you're here. I want to talk about a sensitive subject today, which is finances in recovery. And I'm curious to know if you feel comfortable enough to share. I'm curious to know how finances in recovery has gone for you. It has been a journey for me, we'll just say. When I started recovery, Body Illusion, you look a little better than last visit. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I hope that's a good thing. I think you gave me a compliment last time too, so that's nice to know there's a positive progression. I appreciate that. So when I first entered recovery, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my recovery story here. Body Illusion, since it's an intimate conversation today, I'll just get really real with you. I didn't think I was going to go too much into my story, but here we are. So when I first entered recovery, my bank account was overdrawn. Not much, but like $35 overdrawn. And I was placed in a safe house, which I have plans to talk more about, but that's not the point of today's story. The point of today's live is not to talk about my story necessarily, or the fact that I was in a safe house for 1 year. It's more to talk about finances in recovery. So if you're just rolling in, welcome. It's nice to have you here. Feel free to drop a comment and let me know who you are. I love knowing who's joining us in the chat. Body Illusion, my debt hole was so deep when I got clean. Well, you and me both. My situation has definitely improved over the past few years, and my ability to cope with financial pressure has absolutely improved as well. I'm still recovering though. I still have a small amount of student debt that needs to be resolved. I would like to say that 3 years has been enough time for me to completely recover, but it hasn't been. I am still a work in progress. Artem, hey Artem, nice to see you. I'm so glad you're here. We're talking about finances in recovery, and I was just getting ready to share a little bit of my story. How when I first got placed in the safe house, my account was overdrawn by $38 or something like that. And that was because I had to put gas in my car. I overdrew my account to put gas in my car to get to the next place, which is a whole story in and of itself. We can go into that another time. Before we get too far into this, Vicky wanted to say hello. Here's Vicky. She rose last night. I fed her last night. She rose this high. Then I put her in the fridge. She'll probably grow a little bit while we're sitting here because I took her out. As she gets to room temperature, she'll grow a little bit. But Vicky says hi. She's glad to see you. And Oscar says hello as well. If you've got celebrations, milestones that you want to celebrate, Oscar and I are here to celebrate with you. Body Illusion, I'm also glad that Artem is here. I have missed Artem the past few weeks. It's so nice to see you here, Artem. I'm not the only one who appreciates your presence. Rev Rashim in the house. Hey, Rev. Rev says, hello, Tara. Great to see you again tonight. You look so lovely. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I feel pretty good today. Today has been, the past few days have been particularly good. If you don't know, I started a new job last week as an ambassador for a daytime navigation center. We support people experiencing homelessness in my city. And it's been really fun, actually. I know that sounds maybe a little strange for the purpose of the Daytime Navigation Center, but I'm really, really enjoying working with that population of people. They're so nice. They're relatively easy to get along with. You know, there's everybody's special, right? We're all special. And some people are having a really hard time, and it makes it difficult to interact and to receive help, I think, when we're struggling. But I really am enjoying the job. Don't tell them this. If you're watching this live or on replay and I work with you, pretend you never heard this, especially if you're my boss. If you're my boss, hey, boss, I would do this job for free. I love the job that I have now. I seriously would do it for free. It's enjoyable. I have fun. They pay me well. I just got some new clothes for work. That's exciting. Question, is she Vicky or Vicky? V-I-C-K-Y, actually. V-I-C-K. I gave her a Y at the end. Let me know if you want to know why I gave her a Y at the end. I will tell you, but only if you want to know. See, I'm not the only one who sees your glow, Tara. Well, thanks, Body Illusion. That's sweet. And Rev Rashim, I appreciate the compliment. Rev Rashim, what is your mission statement for your life? Good question, Rev. You always have such thoughtful questions. And happy belated birthday, by the way. Good question. So what is your mission statement for your life? I'm going to have to ponder this. I would put the word, I'm going to write this down actually, Rev, and maybe even incorporate it into my future streams. Just off the top of my head, off the cuff here, I would include the word integrity in my mission statement. Being of service. And having fun. I'm not sure how I would rearrange those things. If you've got a mission statement for your life, I'd be interested to hear what your mission statement is as well. That goes for everyone. Rev, especially you, I'm curious about your mission statement for life, if you've got one of those. And that goes for everyone. Artem, who is probably ignorant, I remembered to not forget to tune in this time. I was pretty frustrated with myself forgetting to remember the last couple times in a row. Good to be here. Artem, I'm so glad you made it this week. It's always a pleasure to have your thoughtful comments show up. Your perspective is so unique, and it really adds variety and spice into the life of this stream. So thanks for being here. I know it's a holiday. Drew is in the house. Adrian Amburn is Drew. Hey, Drew. Nice to see you. I know it's a holiday weekend. It's starting probably right now for a lot of you. You could be anywhere. So I appreciate the fact that you're tuning in, joining me, Vicky, and Oscar. Everyone's saying hello to each other. I love that. Vicky, yes, please. Okay. Vicky with a Y. This might be pretty far out for some of you. I named Vicky with a Y instead of an I because of the numerology behind it. I believe that numbers carry energy. And so I crunched the numbers, and I can't remember what the numbers were, but I decided that I liked Vicky with a Y's numbers more than I liked Vicky with an I's numbers. And I know a Vicky with an I personally. And so I was like, I'll give Vicky a unique spelling and go with the numbers that I jive with better. Is that far out? Let me know if you think that's far out. David Malton coming through. I want to know. So there you have it. Vicky with a Y for the numbers and for the novelty. Okay, Rev, my mission statement for my life to help people see their greatness and bring out the greatness that God has put inside of them. I love that. What a great mission statement. Well, you certainly accomplish that when you're here, Rev. I think that you are so thoughtful. I think I keep repeating that word. I need a different word. My vocabulary is very small, and I would like to expand it. I think that the questions that you ask, the points that you make, the conversation that you stir up here is so valuable. And the compliments that you give are so sincere and appreciated. I just want you to know that I appreciate you too. And it's always nice to see you here. Hello, my friend. Hello, everyone, says Drew. Drew, it's so nice that you're here. We're talking about budgeting today. We kind of got off topic a little bit. Body illusion, that's not far out to me at all, but you have to realize I'm in Cali too. Lol. Thanks, body illusion. It's always nice to feel like I'm not alone, you know? Okay, so I forgot to tell y'all, I am an engineer and certified Medi-Cal peer support specialist. I'm actually creating a wait list. I recently got certified as a Medi-Cal peer support specialist. So if you or anyone you know have state insurance in California, meaning Medi-Cal, or any state, I can actually work with anybody in any state. I'm working on navigating the process for billing in California right now, but I can actually bill out of state too. So if you or someone you know are on state insurance, Medicaid, and are interested in working with a certified peer support specialist, I am creating a wait list. I got my application started, and it won't be long before I'm able to serve people free of charge. I will bill insurance, and it won't cost anything out of pocket. In the meanwhile, so if you want to get on my wait list, I'm going to put my email address in the comments. Just send me an email. Let me know that you're interested, or let the person who you think might be interested know, and have them email me. Let them know, or let me know that you want to get on the wait list. If you don't want to wait, I am doing one-on-one sessions, cash pay. I'm running a summer special over on Patreon, or you can pay me directly to any of the places that are listed in the video description, you know, all the normal suspects, PayPal, Venmo, Cash App. I'm doing a summer special, 30 minutes for $30. And that goes through the end of the summer or until supplies run out. So get on my wait list, or feel free to work with me one-on-one in the meantime. I'm looking forward to it. I've really, really enjoyed all of the one-on-ones I've had so far. It's really fulfilling work. I am so happy to serve you. What's your favorite food for the 4th of July? Okay. I love your questions. Keep your questions coming as we gear up to continue talking about finances. What's your favorite food for the 4th of July? I think I have to say, it's not really a 4th of July food, but sourdough. Sourdough is always going to be my favorite food. I love sourdough. Is that surprising to anybody? Artem, numerology is pretty far out, but if the universe is conscious, it might be like, sure, I'll send you hidden messages through numbers if that's how you roll. I think there's a great truth to this, Artem. I think you make a really good point that if we're looking for something, we're likely to find it. So it came up in a conversation I was having today about all the fear mongering going on, people thinking that the end of the world is coming. Lots of people waiting for the other shoe to drop. You know, we've been through a lot as a society in the past few years. And this ties into the topic. I'm going to tie this into the topic. So, is it just me, or have prices skyrocketed? Because I recently found myself in a little bit of financial pickle, which is resolved now. I'm fine. Like it all worked out because I took the time to figure it out. Now, had this been several years ago, I probably would have stuck my head in the sand, chosen to get high, to distract myself from what's going on. But because prices have risen so much, I actually thought that the cost of one of my bills increased substantially, only to find out that actually I had accepted like terms and conditions without reading the full terms and conditions, which is my mistake. This is totally my mistake. The blame is on me. And Apple charged me for 2 different applications that I do not use. I have no interest in using them. I signed up for the free version, not realizing, I just accepted the terms and conditions, not realizing that they were going to charge me a year later, and got nailed with 2 substantial charges, which totally threw my budget off kilter. So I disputed them. I'm waiting on Apple to hopefully refund the money for those. If they don't, it's my mistake. I'll suck it up and pay for it. But they're hefty charges. And it totally threw my budget off. Which leads me to an important concept in budgeting. Do y'all have a reserve, like a emergency fund? Because I have not been good about keeping an emergency fund. I have been really good about budgeting the past few years in my recovery, like to the penny. I budget, but my emergency fund has been non-existent. And it kind of bit me in the butt when these surprise charges came. So let me know, please let me know if I'm not alone. Maybe you have an emergency fund. How much is in your emergency fund? You don't have to give me a dollar amount, but like, is it twice your income? Is it 3 to 6 months of living expenses? I know Dave Ramsey suggests 3 to 6 months of living expenses, which I'd really like to get. I'd really like to save up for that. Artem, I've been losing an embarrassing amount of money on the stock market over the last couple of weeks, and now my sense of what money is worth feels completely scrambled. Well, Artem, you have taken a risk to delve into the stock market. For everybody watching, Artem, I hope, because you just made this public, I hope it's okay that I talk about it. I think it's really interesting what Artem is putting his energy into right now. He's taking a huge chance and playing the stock market, which is outside of my comfort zone, to be honest. Who out there plays the stock market? Or I hesitate to call this gambling. Artem, do you view this as gambling, or do you view this as investing? I have a hard time seeing what the difference is, but I'm not a gambler personally. I did have a retirement 401k at one point. So I guess in that respect, I was gambling with the stock market. I'm not quite sure how I feel about it all. You know, I think it's great for some people. For me, I think it would just be so stressful. I think the stress would outweigh the fun of it. Do you have fun with it at all, Artem? I'm curious about that. Body illusion, I was so in the hole. I learned the hard way the meaning of a dollar. I'm glad I'm not alone. I was also in the hole when I began recovery. Now, the good news is, and let me know how you feel about this. If you're in recovery or if you're not and you're just, lifing and joining us, I'm so glad you're here. I'm really curious about progress made in recovery. I'd love to hear about your progress or lack thereof of money management in recovery, because I'll be honest, my ability to manage money, I don't think a few years ago that I would have even noticed that these big charges got drafted from my account. And I'm glad I caught it when I did, because I think it's early enough that I can dispute it and get a refund for these things that I didn't mean to sign up for. Apple, if you don't know, Apple has an option. If you go into your iCloud, you can request a refund for things that you didn't know that you signed up for, which I so appreciate. Tara, wish me luck. I may need gallbladder taken out. Had to put myself on a low fat, low sugar diet. Okay. So Drew, good luck. I will be praying for you. You're definitely in my thoughts. Had to put yourself on a low fat, low sugar diet. Did the doc tell you to do that, Drew? How did you determine that you needed to be on this diet? And how's that going? Are you enjoying it? Artem, I think it's different from gambling. Okay, so we're talking about the stock market. Artem thinks that the stock market is different than gambling because you're making a somewhat informed decisions. Okay, that's a really good point. Really good point. We can do research on the different companies that we're investing in, the trends. So then he goes on to say, but at the same time, it's worse than gambling in the sense that you don't even know what the odds are. Also a really good point. Also a really, really good point. Where is everybody? I think they're out celebrating the 4th of July weekend. I'm glad that you're here. If you're here, thanks for hanging out with me. It's always nice to have company when I'm doing these live streams, because otherwise I would just be sitting here talking to myself. It wouldn't go on for very long. The stock market is way above my pay grade. Sorry. You don't have to apologize, Body Illusion. I echo that sentiment and feel similarly to the stock market, like I would want to have that money to lose. So 401ks kind of freak me out, to be honest, because I am investing in the stock market, and if that crashes, I lose it. So I see what Artem is saying, that they are different because you can do research, but good point, Artem, that anything can happen. Anything can happen. Books can get cooked. Surprises, like what happened with me, surprises happen. So check your statements, people. Had I not taken the time to check my statements, and I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but it worked for me incredibly well that I checked my statements and saw that these charges had been drafted from my account. Again, I thought that the price of a membership that I already had, like my iCloud storage, I thought that had just significantly increased because I was using more storage space. So I was just like, oh, shoot, I guess I needed to suck that up. And that was a month ago that I noticed that. But then today I did a deeper dive, logged into my account, and I was like, oh, that's not what this is. This is something different. And I am not okay with it. Artem, I am not enjoying the stock market at all for the time being. Well, isn't it wonderful that you know that, Artem? I commend you for taking a chance, for pursuing something that you were interested in. I think that again, Artem, I feel like the most common strength that I see in you is your perspective. And I think, I haven't read your full comment yet. I'm going to, but I think that your decision to get into something that piqued your interest is a really good one. How I think you've probably learned a lot, and correct me if I'm wrong, but have you learned a lot about the stock market in the time that you've been dabbling? Or not dabbling, but like working it. You've been working it. Artem says, but I still feel up for continuing to keep trying. Okay, so again, your perseverance and perspective are two things that constantly come up with you, Artem. He says, at least until I lose all the money I made on it. So you've made money. That's wonderful. That's such a beautiful thing, Artem. I'm so proud of you for giving it a shot. And I'm really looking forward to following your journey with this. I truly am. Body illusion. In my throes, I didn't care how much I was in debt. I needed what I needed. I was so selfish. Aren't we all? I have yet to meet a single person who is in the throes of their addiction, whatever it may be. Substances, behaviors, whatever the case may be, it takes total attention away from really important things in life. And I think we're all selfish when we first enter recovery. And I mean, to a point, I think the topic of selfishness is really interesting, and perhaps we could do an entire live stream on this. I'm just jotting that down for later. Perhaps we could do an entire live stream on selfishness, because I think there is some level of healthy selfishness. Now, this is debatable. It's probably going to cause some controversy. I'm interested to hear what your thoughts are even here, if this is worth delving into on a future live stream or not. I hesitate to go into more detail with what I think. I just, because if we do another live stream, I'll have plenty to say about it. So what do you think? Would that be an interesting topic? I can't miss more than one day of work if I have surgery. Drew, is that for financial reasons, which is perfectly on topic here? We don't have to stay on topic. We always veer off topic here and there, especially since we have an intimate group here this evening. We can veer as far off topic as we want. So Drew says, I can't miss more than one day of work if I have surgery. I want to know, Drew, is this a financial thing, or is this like work won't let you miss more than one day? Because that's not cool if it's the latter. Let me know why this is, Drew. I'm curious to get some more information from you. Artem, I really hate it, actually. I wanted to give it a solid attempt. The stock market Artem is talking about, I really hate it, actually. I wanted to give it a solid attempt because it would be awesome not to have to work if it works out. But it's so nerve-wracking that it might actually be worse than work. Well, what a wonderful revelation. What a beautiful thing to learn. You know, I think that's what it's all about, is following the dream, you know, following the inspiration. And once we do that, we find out maybe it's not all it's cracked up to be. So Drew knows that I used to live in my car. I think all of you know this at this point, but Drew has been my longest, the person on this journey with me the longest so far, just out of the people who are here. Certainly if you're watching, like Mom, hi Mom, you're probably listening to this on the replay. You've been with me the longest, so you get the award for that. But in terms of the people in this stream right now, Drew was with me. We met over on Instagram, and I was following a dream at that point. Now, eventually, I decided that I no longer wanted to live the way that I was living. Now, would I do it again? Yeah, and as a matter of fact, I probably will do it again. but not in a Prius this time. A Prius just was not conducive to living that lifestyle safely, which is why I ended up in a safe house. So Drew, I don't know if I ever told you this, but I ended up in a safe house at the end of my time living in my car because someone started following me, and a job that I worked did not pay me a substantial amount of money, a large sum of money. So I had to report what happened to the police, and they told me I needed to get out of the area, and I couldn't afford to get out of the area, which is why I overdrafted my account in the beginning of my recovery so I could put gas in my car and get away from this guy who was following me. Crazy story. So I was placed in a safe house where I lived for a year, which I'm going to be talking more about. Conversations with Christy has a channel, and she's going to be interviewing me sometime in July. We haven't nailed down a date yet. Probably sometime this month, though, about my time at the safe house, which I've been wanting to talk about, but I've been kind of embarrassed and a little timid in going public with it. But I think I'm recovered enough and I feel safe. I have my own place that I live now where I feel secure to be able to talk about quite the pickle that I ended up in a few years ago when I started my recovery journey. In fact, I started my recovery journey because I ended up in that situation. They required my sobriety at the safe house, and I was smoking a lot of weed at that time. I've been clean and sober now for over 3 years, and I'm so thankful that I have been able to get my life back on track. Now, is it perfect? No, it's not perfect. In fact, like these charges that were unexpected and unplanned for came up and totally threw me off balance in terms of my budget. But like I said before, the good news is that I am clear enough. Let me take a drink of water here, or sparkling water. I'm clear enough. I have clarity to be able to figure out what the heck happened. I knew my budget was tight. I knew that I would be okay, but those charges, I was like, whoa, I'm not going to be okay. But this is why I need an emergency fund. So that's my next goal in life, is to get my emergency fund funded for situations like this. Drew says, Edward Jones handles my 401k. They're good. Okay, right on. Edward Jones, 401k, Edward Jones, noted. Do y'all have any other financial tips that we could benefit from here? I'd be curious to know. I mean, obviously, I feel like increasing income, which I've done in the past few weeks. I just started a new job, which has increased my income significantly. That's going to be helpful. Body illusion. Well, because of that selfishness, once I got on sure footing, I volunteer at no-kill animal shelters, homeless shelters, food banks. That's awesome. Body illusion. I also volunteer with an organization that serves the unhoused population. That's actually where I work now. I've volunteered with them for over a year now, and they are a stand-up organization. I really, really enjoy working with and for them now. What a beautiful thing that now we can take the focus, carbonated beverages. What a beautiful thing that we can take the focus off of ourselves and pay it forward, give our energy to somebody else who really needs and deserves attention and support. Gallbladder is bad. Drew, I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so glad that you're able to be here right now. Again, really sorry to hear about the gallbladder. Let me see. I'm curious. Did you tell me when your surgery is going to be? I don't think you did. When's your surgery, Drew? I don't have any savings. Yeah, I'm working on that too. Something I saw online is that having using empowering language can be helpful. So, and I'm working on this too. It's like, all right, how can we use? And I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on empowering language if you've got some suggestions. So, how can we talk about this in a way that empowers us to do better? I'm working on building a savings. That's empowering. I'm working toward building a savings. I'm looking forward to the day where I have a savings. That feels empowering. But you have a 401k. That's awesome. I'm so happy to hear that you have that safety net, Drew. The guilt was so overwhelming. I wanted to give back, right? That's interesting. So I had to, I didn't want to give back until I had worked through the guilt. I had to work through that in order to get to a point where I wanted to be of service. But I wanted to be of service. Let me rephrase. I wanted to want to be of service. And I want to celebrate you, Body Illusion, with Oscar. I want to celebrate you for giving back to your local community. I think that's an amazing feat. It's not a time milestone or anything like that, but I want to celebrate you, me and Oscar, celebrate you for being of service to your community. Drew, she had a mouse in her Prius. I certainly did. You can go on Instagram and look at the highlight titled "The Rodent." Drew is not lying. He is accurate. And Drew, your memory is good. Your memory is great. I didn't sleep for 5 days, people, when I had that mouse in my purse. Actually, there's more to that story, Drew. I'm going to tell you the more to that story after I get through these comments. Let me know if you want to know more to that story or if rodents totally freak you out. Yeah, carbonation is good stuff. This is just it's plain sparkling water. It's delicious. It's worth the reaction. Brian Lane, rolling through. Hey, Brian, haven't been here in a while. Wish you the best, Tara. Brian, I wish you the same. It's always nice to see you pop in here. We're talking about finances, Brian. We are getting real with acknowledging the things that we need to work on or the things that we want to work on. I personally would like to work on building a emergency fund. I recently had a couple of unexpected charges on my statement that threw me off balance. I'm recovering from them. I'm going to be okay. All the bills are going to be paid and I'm getting paid on Friday. But I'm curious to know if you haven't chimed in on how you've been navigating finances in recovery. I'd be interested to know if it's gotten easier for you, because that's my experience. I'm happy to report that my experience has been that I am able to manage my finances way more easily than before when I was getting loaded. So that's good news. Speaking of energy, said David, what's your take on channeling? Good question. So my take on channeling is like a rose is a rose by any other name. So I personally, when I meditate or pray, I'm praying or connecting with my higher power. Personally, I don't tend to channel other entities because I think personally it can be, this is just my perspective. I think it can be dangerous to do that. Like, I think it's a real thing. Okay. I think it is real, but when I generally connect with my higher power, I feel like I'm connecting to the right thing, the right source. I'm under the right influence, if you will. When people channel other entities, more power to them. I don't agree or disagree with it. It's just not my style. I prefer to tap into a source that I understand and don't understand all at the same time. Now, that being said, some people I know channel angels or channel other entities. And again, I don't disagree with that. I think it is a thing. And I choose to tap into my higher power, and I keep it super general like that. What do you think, David, about channeling? And if anybody else wants to chime in on this, I think it's a really interesting topic. Definitely proud of you, Tara. Thanks, Drew. I'm proud of you for taking care of your health, prioritizing your well-being, and also for being honest about what you're going through. It takes courage to do that, and I'm really, really glad that you're here. It's nice to have someone around from the good old Instagram days. Brian wishes everyone a blessed recovery. That's so thoughtful of you, Brian. Yeah, Body Illusion says Adrian, which is Drew. I'm so sorry to hear. Healing thoughts going your way. I echo that. David, what does it mean to be a light worker? Okay, so my take on what it means to be a light worker is that you're bringing positive things into the world. So if light is positive and darkness is negative, which I don't necessarily believe that, I think there's light and dark in everyone and everything. I mean, look at this. Look at Oscar. There's highlights and there's darkness in the shadows, right? Like there's light and dark with everything. And I wish I could say I'm all light, but there's darkness in me. I have insecurities that come up from time to time that I try to work on. I try to harness them and not let them take over. I think being a light worker means that we are focused on bringing positive things into the world, sharing positive energy with people, and doing good. That's what I think a light worker is. I think some people view this term as it being more spiritual in a sense. I don't think it has to be. I think feeding people who are experiencing homelessness, offering resources to people, outreach, taking care of foster children. Like, I think all of these things can be viewed as light work. What I see most often in the spiritual community is that light work has to be like, about being like enlightened, or like I hear astrologers talking about themselves as light workers, or people who are into esoteric type of content. But I don't think that it has to be that. I think if you're doing good in the world, if you're being of service to other people and honestly trying to make the world a better place, that to me is light work. And I'm curious, these are all really good questions that y'all have. I'm curious on what your take on light work is as well. Feel free to chime in. Yeah, it is worth the burps. I'm gonna have some more. It's really, really good. Are y'all keeping cool where you're at? It's supposed to be a heat wave coming through here soon. Day after tomorrow, I think. Body Illusion, Walter, everyone needs a pet, even if it's a mouse. Yeah, I got to get to that story. That was an embarrassing story to put on Instagram, but it was such a major event in my life at that time. It was like I didn't sleep for 5 days when that happened. Don't know when the surgery is. Okay, I'll let you know when it's scheduled. All right, yeah, keep me posted on that, Drew. This is Artem. I am currently utilizing the safety net of my savings, but it's not a good feeling to burn through hard-earned money. I'm just doing my best to make the most of this free time. It is precious. Well, Artem, I think your perspective, again, is a healthy one. It seems like you know exactly what's going on. It's not like you've got rose-colored glasses on and you're like just firing into the dark. You know, it seems like you know what's going on. You know what's going on. Brian, yes, I'm doing so much better on finances and holding money right now. I'm glad you are, Brian. I'm going to celebrate you for this. Way to tackle your finances. I'm working on the same. Archangel Michael. Yeah, I know some people do channel Archangel Michael, and more power to them. I do not discount people who do this at all. It's just not something that I personally engage in. David, I love all the comments from y'all this evening. This is really interesting conversation. I did not expect it to go this way. Yes, other entities, when people claim to do this and put a voice on like Jamaican, like a Jamaican voice. You know, I think that if it's real to someone, then it's real. Now, some people would view this as mental illness. I think it's an interesting debate. I see both sides. I see how some people would say that it's mental illness, and I think from their perspective, they're correct. From their perspective, that like in their mind, they're correct about that, and we could put it in that category. On the other hand, I think people who are doing it really believe it, and it's real to them. So it's an interesting sort of paradox. What's real to somebody isn't necessarily real to the other. I think there are some people who are kind of like false prophets and probably put on the Jamaican voice to make it seem real. But then I do think that there are people who legit can tap into esoteric energies or entities. I personally don't do that, but some people claim to, and I personally think it's really interesting. Do I believe it? I believe some people fake it. And I believe that some people can genuinely tap into other energies. I think it's case by case is my perspective. Oh, and I just realized we are, gosh, time flies when you're having fun. We are 47 minutes into it. If anybody's interested in coming on and having a little chat, we've got a few minutes left for that. Let me post a link. Oh, and while I'm at it, we've got a little Discord meeting on Thursday nights. That's tomorrow over on Discord. I'm going to post a link to that as well. If you want to join us, it's a free meeting at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. We have fun over there. We have, it's different every week. Sometimes there's a handful of people. Sometimes there's a dozen people. It's nice to be able to be open and honest about what we're going through without having to be on camera, without having to broadcast it. So we do get a little more detailed about what we're going through. I tend to share a little more over there. I try to stay as authentic as I can, but I also have to keep it family friendly, you know, with YouTube's terms and conditions. We don't have to do that over on Discord, so we can talk about whatever we want over there, which is really nice. So if you care to join us tomorrow night at 7 o'clock p.m., it's we've been doing 90-minute meetings. I've been thinking about scaling it back to 60 minutes just to keep us on focus and on task. We'll see how it goes tomorrow. I think we'll probably play it by ear, but what I do know for certain is that we are meeting at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, so feel free to join us. The spirit world is real, says Drew. 100%. I agree with you on that. I think, though, the stipulation is that some people fake it. Legitimately, I think, are imposters, but I agree with you. I think it is real, and some people are tapped into that and able to bring that energy into a tangible way that we can digest and understand. Some people. Thanks, Brian. Don't forget to hit the like button here, guys. Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Like, share, subscribe, all that jazz if you like what you see here. Thank you, Tara. My pleasure. Drew, it's always a pleasure to interact with you and to see you around. Again, you've been around for the whole thing. I mean, we crossed paths on Instagram, like in the beginning of my Instagram heyday. And I do plan on adventuring more. That's like my adventuring platform, you know. Although a friend of mine suggested that we start a channel that's about building things and going on adventures. And I was like, interesting. That could be super fun. 95 degrees here in Tennessee tomorrow. Ooh, 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 ooh. It's going to be hot here too. I think the difference is I don't have air conditioning in my unit. Most of the places in my city, not businesses have AC, but most of the residential places here in my city do not have AC. So when a heat wave comes through, it's like, oh, it's a big deal. I hope you stay cool. I hope you're all staying cool. Cheers. Body illusion. Says Adrian, also known as Drew. Yes, Tara is a special person. I'm so glad she entered my life. This time with her, I cherish. That's so sweet, Body Illusion. You are just sweeter than honey, I think. I really appreciate all of you. And Body Illusion, I am thankful for your presence here. Thanks for sharing your comments. Drew, I'm glad you do have her in your life. I think the world of her. Well, thanks, Drew. Thanks. Maybe when I get my travel rig, you know what I want. This is what I want when I can afford it. So speaking of finances, back to the topic. My goal is to get a travel rig, something that I can stand up and cook in. Because Drew, you know that I was in a tiny little Prius. I was not able to stand up and cook. I had to set up my kitchen every single time I wanted to cook, and that's not safe. I did it for a period of time, and it was safe in national parks and campgrounds and things like that. But I lived in San Francisco in my car for 6 months, and I can't believe I did that. This was prior to 2019 when things got super wild, and I would not live in a Prius in San Francisco today the way that I did. I don't think it's safe anymore to do that. But I mean, even then, I don't know that it was safe to do what I did, but I did it. And what I learned is that I will be investing in a vehicle that I can stand up and cook in. So when the weather's bad or if it's super windy, like it always is on the coast, that I'll be able to cook. So stay tuned for that. Probably a few years down the road. Like I said, I am launching a business. have already started working with people one-on-one. I am launching my own peer support agency, and I am working on a wait list. I've started a wait list for people who want to work with me for Medicaid for peer support. So if you know someone who's in recovery, or if you're in recovery from substance misuse or mental health conditions, and you're interested in working with me as a peer support specialist, I am happy to support you. I would be honored. And I'm building my wait list right now. So feel free to get on it by emailing me at terrasmiling@yahoo.com. Let me drop that in the chat again. I also am working with People Cash Pay. Just as a reminder, I've got a special over on Patreon. I'll drop the link for that too. Summer special over there. But if you're a Medicaid, what's the word? If you're a person who receives Medicaid, we'll say that. If you're a person who receives Medicaid, then I can work with you free of charge. I'm so excited to be able to provide services at no cost to you. So get on the wait list and buckle up because we've got some work to do, and I'm so happy to help support you in your journey. If you're here joining me in the live stream and you're not currently receiving services from me, I'm so happy that you're here. Thank you for joining me this evening as we kind of celebrate the eve of the Independence Day of the United States. I know not everybody celebrates it, but you could be anywhere right now, and you chose to hang out with me for a little bit. So thanks for hanging out. Nice to see you. I will be live next week. This is my new time. I know it's kind of weird for people. I've been going live on Monday nights at 4 o'clock Pacific for several months now, and I just switched back to Wednesdays. I was doing Monday, Wednesday for a while, and then I went to Mondays, and now I'm on Wednesdays, but Mondays just were too difficult for me because I get treatment on the weekends. Artem, I speculate that the spirit world is real, but it's deceptive. Yeah, I agree with you, Artem. I think it can be deceptive. Like there is an even deeper, even more hidden reality that is covered up, just like in the Matrix. Well, that's deep, Artem. Drew, Artem are probably ignorant. My daughter and I are paranormal enthusiasts and have all kinds of paranormal evidence. It's amazing. Well, that's interesting, Drew. I would be interested in knowing more about that. Do you have, I feel like I haven't seen that. I haven't been on Instagram for quite some time. I just like actually haven't even been on it, but I don't recall you ever sharing stuff like that on the gram, Drew. Do you share that kind of stuff anywhere, or is it private? Always here, Tara. Well, thanks, Drew. And likewise. All right, let me check my notes as we wind down here. I want to make sure I touched all the pertinent points. Oh, something I didn't mention was that because of my recovery, I am able to. I noticed that with the financial stress, that I didn't start having a meltdown, which was really exciting. I was able to meditate and clear my mind of it, and then take action to resolve things. Get to the bottom of these charges that threw me off, and I didn't have to numb, and that feels so liberating. It feels freeing to be able to experience stressors in life, which were my fault, by the way. I'm the one who didn't read the terms and conditions of those apps that I installed on my phone. And then after they were installed for a year, they charged my Apple account for year-long subscriptions. I did not know that I signed up for that. It's my mistake. And I can have ownership of that today because of my recovery. And that feels really good. Adrian, that sounds awesome. I'd love to experience something like that someday, but I've had extremely compelling coincidences in my life that felt mystically orchestrated. Same. I think it'd be really interesting to have a group conversation about this type of thing, both on Discord. Maybe that could be the topic of tomorrow's meeting. I don't know what I could call it. I'm writing that down, Artem. I'm wondering what the meeting is going to look like tomorrow over on Discord, because it's the 4th of July. Like, if anybody's going to show up, 7 o'clock. I mean, that's not actually late enough for fireworks because it's still going to be light out, but I would be really surprised if we have a normal turnout. I think it's going to be a small, intimate meeting, just like this live stream is right now. I'm going to drop a link for that Discord. If anybody here feels like joining us tomorrow night before the fireworks, we'll be there, 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Drew, my grandmother and her mother was a seer. Scared my grandmother a few times. My mother could see sometimes, oh, body illusion, interesting. I don't know what you're doing tomorrow night, body illusion, but I think we're going to get together and talk about this a little more tomorrow over on Discord. Feel free to join us. All right, everyone. I want to give y'all, we've been going for an hour. I want to give y'all an opportunity to chime in with any last comments. The financial conversation wasn't necessarily that exciting, but we talked about a lot more than I anticipated discussing, and that was super fun. Thanks for coming in and hanging out. Drew says, body illusion. I'm actually spirit sensitive. I can feel them when they're around. I don't understand this gift, but I'm learning every day. Drew, that Discord, I don't know if you've been on Discord before. It's super fun over there. We go on video. You don't have to be on video if you don't want your face on camera. You can just go on voice. But I think we will talk about the spiritual experiences, we'll call it, tomorrow. That'll be interesting. We've never talked about anything like that before. And I usually don't talk about the topics before the meetings themselves. I usually reveal the topics, but this is such an interesting one. I think we'll talk about that tomorrow. Thank you for the invite, Tara. Of course, body illusion. That invite goes to anybody watching this live or on the restream. Great movie, by the way. Which movie, Drew? Curious about what movie you're talking about. I want to give Drew a second to respond to that before we wrap things up here. I'll say my final closing thought is that I am accepting people on my wait list. If you've got state insurance and want to work with me as a peer support specialist, it will be at no cost to you. I will gladly bill insurance. I'm building my wait list as we speak. I am a certified Medi-Cal peer support specialist. I will put my certification number in the description of this video so that you have it. Instagram. Great movie, by the way. Instagram. The Instagram movie? I thought you were talking about a movie, Drew. Anyways, feel free to email me over at tarasmiling@yahoo.com if you want to work with me one-on-one, or if you've got questions or anything like that. Drew, I have some videos, Tara, on Instagram. Yeah, there's a lot of videos. I have, I've been thinking about I've started going through some of my old stories and highlights and things like that over on Instagram, because there were a lot over on Instagram. I have a lot of stories in my history, that aren't publicly visible. I was thinking about doing a compilation or telling stories about those or something like that. It's hard to go back and watch sometimes, though, because I was high so often that I hate to see myself that way. I wish I could do it all over again and be more clear and present, which, like, I mean, it's not like I was doing crazy. I feel like I was pretty grounded and present for what I was doing, but if I could do it all over again, I would be more present and more intentional with the things that I did. And I think I would have shown up a lot more and been able to accomplish quite a bit more had I been clear and sober like I am now. So I'm looking forward to returning to the game, returning to adventure now that I've recovered and have done quite a bit of internal work. I don't need substances anymore to have a good time or to be okay. And that feels like serious progress. So I'm looking forward to sharing my future experiences with you. Body illusion. I'm sorry, I'm lost, but I have to say I stay that way. Well, everybody, it has been a pleasure speaking with you as always. Thank you so much for showing up and spending time with me on this 3rd of July. I love you all so very much, and I am looking forward to talking with you soon. Happy holiday.